Hi, I'm Emma Hilleber, and I created the Seasonal Sweets Fall Edition magazine, and I will be answering the creative critical response questions while baking the cinnamon blondies that were included on page 4 of my magazine. Question 1. How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? My product uses many typical conventions of a food magazine, such as utilizing a main striking dish on the cover page for instant genre recognition. This served as my primary hook to grab the audience's attention. Also, I made sure to include a variety of visuals on every page to both adhere to the typical layout of magazines and have a balanced image to text ratio. This allowed audiences to be impressed both visually and through the information I included. To clearly define the baking genre, I included specific signifiers on my cover page, such as a whisk and a slicer. These props reveal the how-to in baking, which will make audiences realize they have a majority of the tools they need to be successful. Furthermore, the use of headlines, subheadings, and layout symmetry replicated a real magazine and made mine feel as if it were legitimately going to be published. On the other hand, Seasonal Sweets Fall Edition challenges typical conventions because of its strong color scheme. To explain, it is common for food media to maintain a clean or sterile look that is associated with kitchen space or presentation. This means that a majority of color comes from the actual food, while the background and text stay minimalist with neutral colors. However, my product utilized a vibrant orange-based color palette, with each background being a different unique shade. This rejected the modern look of clean kitchens and favored the warm and cozy feeling when enjoying treats with family. My magazine represents social groups of new or at-home bakers over professionals. By using the concept of quick recipes, the social issue of time poverty was used to show inclusivity and prove that baking is achievable for the average person and not just for professional chefs or bakers. This allows people to feel confident when sharing homemade treats with their loved ones. By focusing on seasonal flavors such as pumpkin, cinnamon, and apple, I could represent American traditions such as Thanksgiving as a vessel that brings people together. It brings notice to individuals who share a love for baking, especially when they can share their creations with others. Question 2. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? My product engages with audiences by providing recipes that anyone can make. I include simple steps and easy-to-obtain ingredients that ensure anybody with access to a kitchen can successfully bake something for the people around them. Also, in my Feeling Behind the Food article, I directly address the audience by speaking in second person and saying, something as simple as your grandma's homemade pumpkin pie. This makes audiences feel a sense of emotion and nostalgia as they can reflect on their own memories baking with their family. The magazine is targeted to interact with adults 18 plus because of the caution that needs to be taken around dangerous kitchen tools. That means that there will be no advertising in kid-friendly areas. The barcode on my cover page signifies that my magazine can be purchased, which is another way that it interacts with audiences. This also shows that my magazine can be physically distributed through paper copies found in grocery stores, convenience stores, and more. Online access will also be available with promotion through social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. There will be subscriptions available to read all editions of the Seasonal Sweets magazines, and this online access will allow people to obtain the magazine globally. Also, people online can share their feedback and even suggest their own seasonal recipes to others, and reaching larger audiences will be possible through translation sites online. Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? Throughout this project, my production skills developed greatly. Early in the year, I learned how to document my experience on Blogger by completing case studies and other assignments that helped me figure out how to do things such as adding pictures, changing the theme, and drafting my post. I also learned how to upload videos to YouTube to then insert them in my blog, which is a helpful skill for when I need to upload this CCR video. When I began taking photos for my magazine, I learned a lot about how angles, distance, and coloring affected the feel of an image and how it appeared in the magazine. The research process of finding examples of baking magazines exposed me to different layout ideas and led me to the creation of my own, which made me understand the amount of effort needed to create a magazine. One significant part of the production process I remember was learning how to properly set up props in an image, because when I was taking pictures for my front cover, it took me so many tries to fix everything to perfection because at the start I was cluttering the image too much, leaving no room for text. So I ended up mixing baking and fall elements like the fake leaves, kitchen utensils, and the pumpkin cookie cutter to create the perfect cover. Another place my production skills developed was in the app Canva. Canva is where I created my product, and I learned how to edit pictures to my liking and add shapes to elevate the visuals. I learned the importance of different fonts and styles when it comes to attracting an audience and how important presentation is. Apart from technologies, this project also helped me develop my baking skills. Before this, I've never really baked by myself before, but I took the time to find recipes online and take on the task solo. As you could see in the background, I learned how to bake cinnamon blondies, which is something I've never even heard of until recently. This ties back into question 1, showing that even non-professionals, which is me, can bake something shareable and enjoyable. For the creation of the CCR itself, I learned how to edit videos in CapCut by clipping the sections I desired to use and eliminating the ones I didn't. If my production skills never developed, then this video would have a lot of long clips of me mixing the batter. Also, I became familiar with voiceovers and how to edit them together. Question 4. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? In this project, the main technology I integrated was the software design program Canva. I used this for the actual creation of my magazine brief and used it to edit my pictures and add elements such as my chosen fonts and shapes. For example, every picture I included was filtered with the Capri setting, which added an orange tint and vibrance to my seasonal sweets. Also, the program helped me in centering my photos and making sure my pages were symmetrical as it had a built-in sizer. I chose Canva over other software apps because of my familiarity with it. I had already used it on other school projects and could navigate it quickly and easily, but I did still learn from new useful skills that the app had to offer. Also, when I was just brainstorming or had a quick idea to write down, I would use my notes app so I didn't forget any of my ideas. I used hardware technologies such as my phone and computer, which made it easy to take quick pictures and to blog about my experience when I was out shopping at places like the grocery store or just making progress in class with my teammate Allie. One problem I ran into while using my phone for pictures was that the coloring of my pictures would always look a bit gray, so I had to edit every one. I also used Office 365 and Word to plan blog posts, recipes, and even the CCR. Something unexpected that I utilized a lot during this process was the airdrop feature, because I would take all my pictures on my phone and airdrop them straight to my computer for easy access, instead of having to go through the hassle of emailing them to myself every single time. Overall, I think I learned a lot from this experience when it comes to learning about magazine elements or learning about how to use different apps and technologies. It was a very fun process, especially with my teammate Allie, and I will definitely pick up baking as a new hobby. And these are my cinnamon blondies. Find them in my Seasonal Sweets Fall Edition magazine.